Hey everybody, Tim here for tonight's episode of Star Trek Season 3, Episode 8, Sanctuary! Which I can't say that without thinking of any sort of cliche church or anything, like Sanctuary. And I don't know, after finishing this episode, that's kind of how I felt. I didn't like it, I'll just be right up front. 8 episodes for the season, I think I've really liked maybe 3. And I think it was the first 3. This one did, once again, it kind of felt... It didn't feel like it necessarily fell all the way back to the season 1, season 2 writing, but it did feel kind of like it was trying to be classic Star Trek, and parts of it did feel very classic Next Generation, let's save the planet type storyline. The problem is, when you have 26 episodes for your entire season, and your entire season is so, episodic. You can have this, and this, and this, and it doesn't really matter. It doesn't need to connect. That type of storytelling doesn't work for this. It does not work in this instance. We get, 13 episodes, and they're all supposed to be this giant over-arc storyline. That we know there's the Syndicate, we know there's the Burn, we know there's the New Federation, stuff like that, and they all have to kind of connect. This little single shot episode that, realistically, I still don't care for Book that much. I don't find him as an interesting character, and the fact that he's the Burnham love interest, I really I'd rather see Grudge have its own episode than Book. So this whole episode just kept going and going. The Georgiou has lost all of her power, where she this entire episode she's just ignored and belittled, where she's I killed this person, no you didn't. And she went from being this badass to okay grandma, sure. And they've completely just ruined everything about her. Going to, I already talked about, going to Book's home. The Orions are kind of interesting. It is interesting to kind of see the development of the female of the species, which they touched on that back in Enterprise, which, again, predates Discovery, how the women are actually the ones that are, in charge of the race. It's not the men. Everybody knows the Orion slave girls and stuff like that. But, again, going back to Enterprise, the women were the ones that were in charge. They just made it seem, it was reverse psychology type thing. And this whole episode was well, Orion's dealt with slavery, so you should know what you're talking about. Who are you talking to? It didn't make sense. It was so weird. The whole music is once again brought up. That was on the Siege ship. It's the song that Gray played. It's the lullaby. And now it is tied to the Burn somehow. Because the Burn happened 130 years ago. And so now it's tied to that somehow. Which is not surprising necessarily. Because as soon as they heard it on the Siege ship, you know it's going to be important. So now there's something going on there with the distress signal. So that'll be that's the most interesting part of this season. And that's what I want to see play out. We do finally get more of Adira's non-binary, which is interesting. It was actually a complaint of mine when we first saw her character, because the actress is non-binary, and then as soon as Adira comes in and they're she, her, and I was that's kind of odd. And then sure enough, here we are a few episodes later, and now she's proclaimed, I am non-binary, I prefer they or them. I was that's good, that's awesome. I love to see that. So we'll see kind of how that plays out a little bit. And just the whole, Stamets being a dad thing, I don't know, it's a little over the top for me. And especially, I just don't see Anthony Rapp in that type of role. I just don't buy it. So we'll kind of see where that goes. The whole locust thing, I did not give a fuck about those locusts. And the whole, them doing their meditation and they can go away. I was just done. So, I don't know, a lot of interesting stuff going down, but I don't know. I feel if this was, past storytelling, 26 episodes, fine, fuck it, give Book his own episode, I don't care. Because then, the next time around, if I decided to do it, I could just skip it. I don't need this. it was just such a filler episode. When you got 13 episodes, you don't have time for those types of filler. So I'm kind of curious what everybody else is thinking. I know everybody loves Discovery. I'm definitely in the minority. I already know, and I'm fine with it. It's okay. So I'm curious what everybody thinks about it, and book, and what's going on with Georgiou. Go ahead, let me know. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for subscribing, and I will see you guys next week for the Terra Firma Part 1.